I'm Mike Sullivan, and today we've got a video probably for a little better golfer. Today we're going to talk about how to stop hooking your golf shots. Okay, so this is something we just don't talk about it too much, about how to quit hooking, because one, really the majority of golfers have trouble with slicing, and then it's also kind of a challenge to help somebody who's hooking, like if I'm not right here there with you, because when you hit a hook, you're actually doing a lot of things with a club that are correct. You're just really overdoing it. So let me grab a club to show you what I mean by that. All right, so I've got an 8-iron, and forgive me, this is my first swing of the day. We're on a golf hole from TPC Scottsdale, so it's going to make some noise. But when we're hooking, what's happening with most people is your club face is closed relative to the path you're swinging on, and the path is in to out. So for me, I'm right-handed. My club face, if I hook it, will be shut. My path will be out to the right, in to out. So let's take a look at what that kind of looks like in my swing, as well as on the launch monitor. Let's see if I can do this in one shot. Okay, so there's probably a good example if you're struggling with a hook. Maybe turn that down a little bit. So when you look up at the screen, you can see, let's quiet the crowd down a little. My face, my club face, the top number is 10.1 degrees closed to the path, okay? And then my path is 8.9 in to out. The other thing we tend to see here is my angle of attack, I hit down on the ball 1 degree. I didn't hit down on the ball very much because the club, instead of working kind of this way, when you swing in to out, it tends to come in shallower. So that's just something else we see. So even though better players tend to have trouble with the hooks, you may have trouble compressing the ball, especially with the longer clubs, because as the clubs get longer, it's going to be even shallower. Okay, so what do we do about this? So we've got a shut face and we've got a path in to out. Generally, we want to take a look at that club face first. So number one, how are you gripping the club? Your top hand on the club. When you look down, so I'm looking down from the top here, I can see this knuckle, and I can see that second knuckle, and I can see a little space going towards the third. If you can see much more than that, it's just going to be really, really easy to get the club face shut, and when that face is shut, you're going to want to swing in to out, okay? So check that grip. You want to be able to see maybe 2.5 knuckles on that top hand. Your bottom hand should be on the club with the palm pointing where you want that ball to go, about like here. It's really funny too, whenever we're talking to anybody about really correcting a ball flight problem, it always starts off with the basics: grip, alignment, ball position, posture. Your ball position. If your ball position, this is from my previous lesson, if your ball position is back in your stance, well, it's going to be super easy to catch that ball from the inside. And when you get that ball, the club's moving out to the right, it's really easy to shut the face down, even with a neutral or a weak grip, okay? So we want that ball position so that with our short clubs, and I think the camera might have to move this way a little bit, Lauren, right? The ball positions should be so that with the short clubs, the leading edge of the club is about the middle of the stance. And there's a little wiggle room here. But if you're one of these guys that plays our pitching wedge back here and you make a good swing, you're hitting push draws probably all day. So even with your shorter clubs, have that set up so that you're encouraging yourself to be able to hit the ball and then the turf. All right? Alignment. Make sure you're not lining up off to the right. I'm not going to bother going through all that here because you're probably a better golfer as well, but put alignment sticks down. A lot of people who hit these big old draws, they tend to line up shut to the target, so they're swinging out to the right and they're incentivizing a super shut face. Okay, and then of course you always want to have good posture, right? Now, what can we do in our swing to help this? Come on back over here if you don't mind, Lauren. So first thing I'm going to work on is just like a club face drill. I want to try to hit some shots where I can feel the toe of the club is trailing the heel. So I'm going to try to feel kind of like this is happening. See that face is being left open? I'm going to hit some shots where I'm trying to feel that face be open. So let's see if I can get that face open at impact. All right, so I was able to get it 1.5 miles open. 14 degrees open. Any chance I hit the hosel on that one, you think, Lauren? No? Okay, let's try it again. Let's do a little bit more reasonable open face. Okay, so a lot of times what will happen is you may want to have that face be open, it's 1 mile open, fine. Then try to back off where it's not quite as open. So that one, my face was only 1 degree open, okay? And you'll notice my path, if you want to get up there closer, Lauren, real quick. My path was 0.9 into out. Earlier it was like 8 into out or something like that, do you remember? It was way, it was, okay, it's a big number into out though, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Notice that now that my path is more sensible, I'm hitting down on the ball at 4 degrees. Okay, which is just another thing that's going to help us hit it solid. All right, let's try this again, and let's just say, okay, I'm still hooking the ball. So let's see what happens here. I'm going to we'll kind of pretend that's not working for a second. All right, so now we're back to shut face, in to out path. It's possible that as you're trying to correct this, trying to feel like the face is open, it's just not going to work for you. Well, then we can talk about some things we can do to help out with our path, all right? So if you take a look now, if you watch how my hands are working, when we're swinging, I'm going to go this way. When we're hitting golf shots, just think, I'm turning my hips, they should be opening like this, right? Well, my hands are going to work kind of, I'm right-handed, they're going to work kind of left with my hip. So when we're hitting shots, our hands should not be moving out away from us. And this is one of the things that a lot of better golfers that either haven't had instruction fairly recently or who haven't really looked into understanding what's going on with the golf swing, we're always taught we want to swing in to out. And that tends to produce that sort of a thing. But really, and I've done other videos about this, if you catch the ball on the way down, in your swing, your actual path, because that's where you strike the ball, your path will be to the right of your overall swing plane direction. So if you're swinging your club out to the right like that, and you catch it on the way down, your path is going to be 1 mile in out. Okay? So the other thing we can do, if controlling the face doesn't seem to be working, is we can try to work on getting the feeling of getting our handle of the club moving left through impact. So I'm going to try for that feel, and I'm going to really work to see if I can get this handle working to the left. I'm even going to open up my stance a little bit. That Matthew Wolf type of a pre-shot thing, I'm going to try to feel that. Okay, so I'm really trying to get the hands going left. Now what's funny about that is my path was only, get up closer there if you don't mind, Lauren, my path was only 1.4 out to in. All right? So that was barely out to in, and I felt like my hands went 1 mile out to in. Incidentally, look at the angle of attack up there. Sorry, Lauren. I hit down on the ball 5.3 degrees. So the more you hit down on the ball, the more your path is to the right of your swing plane. So there's this little game that we're playing about where should that swing plane be, because depending on how much I hit down on the ball, that's really going to determine the actual path. Okay? So this is something, and definitely if you've got a simulator or a good launch monitor, Well, I guess you need a good launch monitor in any case. But if you've got a good launch monitor, you can kind of get a feel for, what is my path doing versus my angle of attack. If my path, can we get up there again and look at that, Lauren? If my path is 1.4 out to in, and I moved my entire swing plane, if I wanted to have my path closer to 0 or a little in out to hit a little draw, well, I'm hitting down 5-3 with my 8-iron. I could go ahead and try to adjust my swing plane a little bit more to the right, and I'd still hit down on the ball properly. But if my path is out to in 1.4, and let's say I'm only hitting down on the ball 2, well, now there's something else going on because the angle of attack really isn't going to help us hit enough solid shots. Then we have to maybe go a different direction with that. All right, so if you're, and again, this is why I don't do a ton of videos like this one-way instruction on fixing a hook, because it really is probably most helpful to be with someone or maybe work them through this while they're using their own launch monitor. But if you're hooking the ball, it's really a problem with your face and your path. And I say your face, I mean your face relative to your path. So you want to make sure you have the ability to hit the ball with a slightly open face, and you have the ability to get your path going a little bit out to in, and that's going to help you make sure you have the skill set to get rid of that hook. I hope that helps. I'll see you next time.